When we originally launched the IP-NFT, the use case that we saw was leveraging biotech DAOs to be able to fund science via these sponsored research agreements, as has been prototyped by BioDAO. But ultimately, as we were building it, I think we realized that a lot of the primitives that we were building were highly versatile in how they could be applied. And so rather than make each IP-NFT fit for purpose for this one specific use, we wanted to make it generalizable and allow anyone with a wild imagination for how they could repurpose this original primitive to create value doing so. And by creating this open source, we don't stop anyone from building whatever they want to build and just enable them to create value the way they see fit.
So putting intellectual property as tokens on a blockchain isn't the simplest piece of sugar that you could think about. What we are basically doing is minting NFTs that represent property, and then we are adding utility on top of those NFTs. Now, we already have launched an NFT contract some months ago. Maybe some people of you already have seen that. And what we're currently doing is we're building a second version where we are taking into account all the requirements that we hadn't thought about in the first place. What we try to achieve is have some kind of speed in it and build as many features into it as we can imagine that our DAO partners would need, and then we are trying to deploy that as fast as possible that people can start and try using that and operating with that. So we can identify all the features that are actually needed to make this a working ecosystem in the end. And this is basically what the tech team at Molecule is doing at the moment. We're currently building the second version of IP-NFT and adding dynamic features to it so we can extend them in the future.
So the IP-NFT is a technology that enables two parties to collaborate on a certain research project. And those two parties might be a funder, which is providing resources to the research, and a researcher, which is trying to conduct the research and learn about something new. Now, the IP-NFT is, as the name says, combined out of two parts. There's a legal aspect to it, which might be IP, data, a legal right, and another one which is a technological part, which is an NFT. And combining those two actually brings this new this asset, the IP or the data or the rights that are connected to a legal contract on chain, and makes this transferable and very easily governable by several people.
One thing that we think that the IP-NFT could be super valuable for is joint venture agreements. We think it could be useful as fractions, meaning if you can take the IP-NFT and turn it into a multitude of fractions, you enable a whole new market for valuing early stage IP. So early stage IP is historically incredibly difficult to value and requires a very specialized individual to do so, and is also only priced by very specific and few parties. And so by creating more market pricing and allowing more people to come into this pricing mechanism, we think that early stage IP can be valued at a way that is much more predictive of their long-term value, rather than what a few initial individuals who invest into this IP development think that it's the price at the time.
Now, fundamentally, it's all about biotech, right? This is what's in the genes of Molecule, BioDAO, and all BioXYZ, for example, our incubator program. And what you as a developer find usually very exciting at the moment is all those powerful blockchain primitives like NFTs and fractionalized tokens and so on Ethereum blockchains. To give them some kind of purpose, to use them to build an ecosystem that adds to the benefit of humans. And this is what excites me as a developer personally very much. Finally using that stuff for something that has a true meaning.
When we initially developed the IP-NFT as a POC, we had one goal, and that was proving that there can be new mechanisms to fund research using blockchain technology. Throughout the last year, with the help of BioDAO, we have proven that this new primitive exists and works well for researchers to collect the funds they need to start their research projects. Now, throughout this process, we were in touch with a lot of different developers, but also researchers, which were asking, can we also use this primitive to build it out for new use cases or to build on top? And this triggered us to now release a new version, which is basically a lot more modular than it was before. And we're open sourcing the whole code of this IP NFT, making sure that anyone can now start building their use case on top, use the primitives and the tools that we have developed to make it work, and collaborate on it and make sure that more researchers can profit from those tools.
I think ultimately what the IP NFT does is it democratizes the ability to contract with various parties as it corresponds to IP. So rather than only limit legal access to individuals who have a ton of funding, be able to democratize that access and create default contracts that anyone can pull off of our open source repository and leverage with very few legal fees. So I think our goal is to really remove the barriers to forming multi-party contracts between people that just want to invest in science that is otherwise historically underfunded, and encourage people to do so in a way that's not highly capital intensive, but allows the masses to benefit from it.